So with the release of the Borderlands 4 trailer at the Game Awards, we got our first look at the 4 new Vault Hunters in, Borderlands 4, and it's actually stirred up a lot of controversy and talk within the community, purely based on the characters' designs. A lot of people are upset with these designs. They think they look kind of bland. They think they don't look too different from one another, and this has just become this huge controversy in the community. I kind of want to take some time to talk about that, kind of use some hindsight, some information as well, to kind of explain why this probably isn't as big of a deal as everyone is making it, while also kind of validating, at the same time, some of these concerns people are having. So before we get into that, know you can follow me over on YouTube and Twitter at Byrdman778. Give a thumbs up on the video. Let me know some of you're interested in seeing Borderlands 4 wise down the road before the game launches, theory, stuff like that. Really helps out. Subscribe and become a member. So let's jump right on it. So we got the first look at these new characters. We have no actual information pretty much whatsoever on any of them. Everything we have is essentially coming from the trailer itself. We did get kind of a somewhat look into at least 2 of the characters and what their action skills might be, the 2 presumed male characters in the trailer. One of them on the very far left, whenever they're doing kind of their walk up, he's got kind of this exoskeleton on him, and he ends up doing this cool little blade dance type thing that we see immediately after they show off the characters. And then towards the very end of the trailer, we actually see the big tank guy, what is presumably probably his action skill in action, where he's he throws this gravity singularity, what I'm presuming is a grenade, pulls everybody together, then he activates his action skill, ends up being these 2 elemental axes, and then he ends up throwing one of them. So that's pretty much the entire look we have into these characters. Now, based off all of that, people are up in arms talking about how I don't like what these guys look like. They don't look like they're any different from one another at all whatsoever. They think the color palette on these characters are very bland. Everyone's just really upset. The community has been very up in arms. You've got, the rage bait Borderlands creators that are out there throwing a fit about this and getting everybody on tizzies, when in reality, I don't think this is pretty much any different than we've really seen from previous Borderlands games. Borderlands 3 trailer showing off our wonderful characters Mose, Flack, Zane, and Amara. People have brought up the fact that when we first got that first look, we kind of had a better idea of who they would be, just because they showed little things about their action skills and whatnot in that trailer, versus this one where it seems to be still kind of burying the lead a little bit on itself. And I do actually kind of agree with this criticism. Why do we only see essentially 2 of these, Vault Hunters action skills within this versus getting a little bit of an idea of all 4 of them? Clearly in the past, we've been able to do that. So why not now? When in reality, I don't think this is that big of a deal, because clearly in the future, we're going to get the game and we're going to have a better idea of all these characters and everything like that. I think a lot of people's impatience and just hype and everything based around that is kind of, coming to the forefront. And I think it's kind of pretty legitimate and everything. We're all really excited. It's been 5 years since we've had a mainline Borderlands game. And, seeing the Vault Hunters for the first time is a huge part of that. It brings a lot of hype, it brings a lot of enjoyment, and it sets expectations for essentially where we're expecting to go in the future. Now, my opinion of this truly is that this does not really matter. I again, kind of going back to that thing, I think we're going to be fine. We're going to have actually what has been said by, Gearbox employees, a gameplay trailer in early 2025, whether early 2025 is January, February, not really sure, but I think we can expect to see a better in-depth look at these characters sooner rather than later. So I don't really think that's too big of a deal. And kind of talking about how these characters don't look like they really differentiate themselves from one another, I think is a bit of a fallacy. I think it's a bit of a guys, we need to calm down kind of moment, because when I first looked at them, I genuinely could look at them and at least 3 of them and immediately say, okay, I know exactly kind of what these guys are going for. And then 2 seconds later, the one that I was unsure about shows his action skill. So I'm oh, immediately kind of know where he's at. So kind of going off that picture of the 4 of them from, left to right. You see the guy on the far left. He's got that, exoskeleton on. 2 seconds later, we get to see he gets those blades, that visor in front of his face. He's definitely going to be a fast melee style character. I think he's going to be very reminiscent of somewhat of a combination of Zane and Zero put together. Again, this is all theory for all 4 of these guys, but I think it's pretty safe to say that he's going to be kind of more of that crit speed glass cannon style character. Immediately to his right, you see the Siren. It's clearly a Siren. She's got the tattoos, they're glowing, all that stuff. There was a lot of talk within the community that this could be Ava, but it has already been confirmed from the Gearbox developers that these are all 4 new characters. So this is not Ava. The big reason why people thought that, there was a PlayStation blog post that was talking about this, mentioning that, you know, there's been a time jump. People look at this character, it looks very reminiscent of Ava. It's a Siren, all other stuff, but again, has been confirmed this is not Ava. But looking at her, you really don't know what she's going to be. There's been, I'm theorizing from people that, you know, she might be like this alchemy style character, this like pet summoner style character, which I don't particularly mind. I have no issue with that. Or it could be like some type of leech character. I think that'd be pretty cool too. But from her, we just know she's a Siren, so we know she's going to have this very unique ability just for herself that probably won't be anything that we saw from previous Sirens in the game. Next up is the big tank guy. We've already seen his action skill, or at least presumed action skill, those 2 elemental axes. Looks really awesome. He's definitely going to be a tank. I love that stuff. That's, guys, expect me to be playing this dude from day one. If you are looking for the best builds and everything for that character, come my way. I will be here day one doing that. But he looks super awesome. I think he's probably like obviously like the most unique of the 4, other than, you know, obviously like the Siren character, because she's a big obvious reason why like she's different. But he looks really cool. I think he looks awesome. He's got that huge robotic arm. So obviously I think we're gonna have like one of like our 3 possible action skills involving that. We have the axes. He looks like he's like really freaking cool. And again, you can kind of look at him and immediately go, yeah, he's probably gonna be a tank. And lastly, we have the lady on the very far right end. If you look at her entire getup and everything, it really screams gadget style character, kind of like a gizmo type person to me personally. Her pants look like workers' pants. It's got like a bunch of like wires and, you know, like tubes coming out of it. So I'm guessing something may be involving, you know, cryo or fire maybe. I don't really know. I'm pretty much basing that just off the colors of them. But then she's also got this like jetpack on her that we see within the trailer itself, and then also her like gloves look like worker gloves, like a you know, a smith of some sort. So again, gadget smith type person. I think that's pretty obvious from the get-go what she's going to be, and I think that's pretty exciting. Also, she's got like, you know, the Ray-Ban style glasses on, looks kind of nerdy. I think it's going to be, you know, gadgets and stuff, but I think it's pretty obvious from the get-go. Now I'm going to be, gosh, hold on. Now I'm done rambling about all these. Again, let's address like what everyone's talking about. People are saying they look bland. They don't look like they're any different from the, you know, previous Vault Hunters and stuff like that. And to that, again, I see what you're saying, but I don't really completely agree. If we look at Borderlands 1, those 4 Vault Hunters literally look so freaking boring. They have like not even cool, like all of their color palettes are like practically exactly the same. Looking at them, pretty much the only 2 that you can like immediately like know like what they're going to be is probably like Mordecai and Brick, just because Mordecai kind of has that assassin sniper look to him and Brick is like Brick, you know. Immediately, I don't know immediately what Lilith was going to be, and I don't know immediately what Roland was going to be, but obviously we found that out later in the game. You look at Borderlands 2, these might be probably like obviously like the biggest differentiator of the group, just because again, you look at Maya, clearly got the tattoos, we know it's gonna be a Siren. We have Axon, he's got the, you know, war soldier kind of get up on himself, definitely probably gonna be a soldier. Zero definitely has the katana and everything. We're assuming some type of like stealth assassin kind of guy. And then we finally have Salvador. And honestly, Salvador, I think is probably the one of all of them that I'm like, I don't know immediately what he was going to be. He just held 2 guns. When I first saw that, I figured every character was going to be holding 2 guns. I didn't know this was just going to be a singular thing for just a Salvador. But again, that's what I'm saying. There's not a whole, like, you don't really have a lot of information off that first trailer of them with that. Moving on to Borderlands 3, that's probably like another one where like I'm kind of like up in the air of like what these guys are going to be, other than like clearly like Amara and probably like Moze. When I first saw Flak, I saw pets and stuff like that. Sure, I have an idea of pets, but then he also ended up being like the crit like sniper style character. I didn't really see that. Zane, I really had no idea what he was going to be. You know, he just kind of looked like John Wick with some clones and gadgets and ended up being like, you know, the crit speed character, you know? So again, first looks aren't everything. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day, because obviously we're going to get more expanded information later on, so it's going to be okay. And at the end of the day, obviously color palettes and stuff like that really aren't going to matter, because this is Borderlands. We have had customization of our characters' looks since day freaking one. We're going to be able to change the color palettes. You're going to be able to change the heads, and likely it being Borderlands 4 and the entire kind of like cosmetic market on games kind of inflating over the last few years, these guys are probably going to look completely different by like the first 30 minutes that you're going to be playing, because you're going to find some cosmetic that's going to drop, or there's going to possibly be some type of shop where you can buy a cosmetic. It's going to be fine. Like, their looks really don't matter on the base front. At the end of the day, the biggest thing that's going to matter is the gameplay of the character, their skill trees, and honestly the world around them, and the weapons and gear and all that stuff that we're going to be actually playing with. You are going to look at essentially these 4 base designs pretty much only until like the game launches, and then it's going to completely change. It won't matter. It's going to be okay. So to kind of wrap this all up, obviously, again, I definitely understand people's like worries and concerns. They look bland, blah, 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 but we've barely seen anything of these characters. I think everybody needs to first off block all of the Borderlands haters and people out there who make their entire channels, you know, completely based around hating on this game, yet it's where they get their paycheck. It's absolutely insane that we actually watch that content. But block those people, get them out of your mind. We need to be able to support, obviously, creators that are awesome and doing good things within our community. K6 Jolts, Epic NNG, Bad Karma, Speaking Lion, Mystique Siren, Pascaroni. I could go on and on about these people who have done nothing but show love for this game. So definitely support them. And again, just be patient. We're going to be able to see a lot more of these characters very, very soon. So I'm just excited. I'm just glad we got Borderlands 4 right around the corner. I'm glad I got some more content to play and add on to the channel here. So again, if you want to help support the channel, make sure you're following, subscribing, becoming a member. Comment down below which of these 4 Vault Hunters from obviously the first looks you're most excited about. Again, I'm going Big Tank Boy. He's going to be awesome. Honestly, I think I might go with Gadget Girl too. I think a lot of people are going to sleep on her, and I'm going to end up playing her, and she's going to be amazing. But anyway, let me know that down below, and make sure you follow me over on YouTube and Twitter at Byrdman778. Guys, thank you so much. I hope you have a great night, day, or whatever it may be.